Hello and welcome to the Nerds at Large Spoilercast for Black Panther.
Yes.
I am one of your hosts, Darby Holland.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
And if you have not watched one of our spoilercasts before, we are going to start out with a spoiler-free section. So in this first section, if you have not seen Black Panther, you are fine. Listen to this. But we will let you know when we go into the spoilers. And, if you haven't seen the movie, duck out. Go watch it.
Odds are you have. We're probably on the later end of this.
We're pretty late to the party here. Chances are you've seen it. Chances are you have seen this movie. Jeff.
Darby.
I love this movie.
It's a pretty great movie.
We literally just came home from seeing it. We saw it an hour ago. Not even, whatever. So obviously it hasn't completely sunk in yet. But at least for me, where I'm at, I feel like this is, for me personally, on the upper echelon of Marvel movies.
Yes. I feel like of course, depends on everything. People who might put some early movies above this, and just for a lot of the later ones, are those are the first kind of nostalgia thing in a way.
Yeah.
I feel like these movies have, for the most part, consistently gotten better. If we just look at things objectively, some of these movies might stack over Avengers.
I think we're starting to get to that point for sure. And it's one of these things, obviously always Iron Man and Avengers, because it was early on in all of this. We had never seen this before and we were younger. Mm-hmm. We're going to look back at those with this nostalgia angle. So in some ways these movies are never going to beat it, almost just in an unfair way. In a way where the way you remember old video games, old movies or whatever, you remember them more fondly. But we're getting to the point where some of these movies, these are getting crazy when it comes to the set pieces, the characters, the just everything's just so refined.
And then kind of with Black Panther and with Wonder Woman actually trying out some different things to set these movies apart.
Yeah, and that's what visually this movie and even story-wise in a lot of ways I feel is pretty different from other Marvel movies. And honestly, I expected going into this, I thought that, obviously it was going to be set in Wakanda in this African setting, and I knew that's where it was going to take place, but I did think it was going to end up, dipping some into the American setting and some of the other characters we knew and everything. Yeah. But for the most part, that doesn't
when you
really
said that, I was
happen
trying to think, it's how often do we actually leave Wakanda?
Very rarely. It's, for the most part, they let Black Panther and all of these characters that you don't know, but they let them stand for themselves without having to supplement okay, these new characters, but look, here's these characters. They don't do that. They let these characters stand.
The motion you say them doing that is that one CIA guy, who I forgot exists until they mentioned him. Oh yeah, he's apparently someone we're supposed to know.
Was he in Civil War? I don't even remember him.
I guess so. The way they made it talk.
I didn't know if it was. It seems like we're supposed to know him. I didn't remember him. Yeah. So,
I recognize the actor, but that could have been from anything.
Yeah.
I bet I've looked him up. He was in a bunch of things I've seen.
But clearly, he's not, Captain America, Iron Man. He's not one of these in there. But I loved that they focused on these new characters. And, honestly, when you look at what they had to do with this, this, honestly, this movie could have been bad, and it could have, whenever you have Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, any of these other ones that you're introducing, they're still kind of in the same sort of environment that we've seen a lot of times with this, and, it's obvious that it's the same world. With Black Panther, they had to introduce this entire new city that's, very,
its own mythos, pretty much.
Yeah, it's basically in another world, off from the other ones or whatever, and all this entire cast of characters that you know nothing about, and they had to and just the entire idea of Wakanda in general and just how it works, they had to introduce so much stuff in a single movie and and also make it work and not feel rushed, and I think they did.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking for us. Partly I was okay, I'm glad they introduced Black Panther in Civil War, so they could focus on Wakanda with this mainly.
Right. And it was a lot of stuff they had to do. And the movie, this is not really a spoiler. The movie starts off and it's very heavy exposition, right at the beginning, almost in the form of a story that's being told. And at first I was like, this is kind of weird. It's like just starting so heavy with exposition. But I kind of feel like they had to in a way.
Oh, no, that's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, I'm glad they're getting this stuff out of the way so we learn more about Wakanda.
Right. They had to, like, establish that backbone because, like, I knew nothing about Wakanda. Or I knew nothing about Black Panther's story at all.
Mm-hmm. I knew, like, the bare bones stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is not a superhero I'm familiar with.
I mean, that goes for a lot of people, and that's why, like, you can tell Marvel's doing a really good job with this stuff because people care about Black Panther now. Black Panther's now a household name, like, really quickly. You couldn't even say that with Civil War because there were a lot of people, like, I remember, like, in our group, people were telling them, like, yeah, Black Panther is cool. I don't know if I'm looking forward to the movie, like, especially when we were really hyped for Spider-Man at the time, especially, but I feel like, I don't know what changed, but leading up to right before the movie came out, everyone was like really excited, and you kept hearing about these records breaking. It's like, where's this coming from?
I mean, beating The Last Jedi and like sales like coming out.
I know the whole cultural thing or whatever, like what I mean, sort of African Americans and stuff. Like obviously that
is a part, that definitely.
But then it just, I mean, to break these records, you need obviously more than that. But then it's just a great movie that obviously anyone can enjoy.
Right, and it got people. Yeah, it seemed like people went from like not even knowing Black Panther to Black Panther becoming like an icon and like a iconic superhero, and like I love it now. Like as soon as I left it, that was like probably the single thing that I'll say the most about Black Panther is just that it was fun. Like from beginning to end, it was like it had kind of a almost like a goofy tone at times. Like it definitely like was lighthearted at times and almost seemed like yes, it was about T'Challa and Black Panther, but it was also almost like this ensemble piece where it was like I didn't expect all the other characters to be as prominent as they were, and they each had like their own personalities, and like the way that they interacted with him, it was this cool, like everyone was kind of like almost like a cheesy stereotype, but it worked. You had like the gadget person, like with his sister, and then you had like the protector person, all these other people,
the general, and then his love interest, and
yeah. And I guess when you think about all that, it's like kind of basic stuff that I just feel like I don't know, they just worked so well off each other. Like they looked like they were having fun, talking to each other, and I was having fun watching it. And like I love how it was like. This gave me, it's so weird, I don't know if anyone else like talks about this, but it gave me very 007 vibes, which I liked a lot, just with the technology and everything was like really, really cool. And I like that he's like part Batman, but then there's also a weird like almost mythical element to it as well.
That's what, I mean, it's partly because, I don't know if you know Death Battle, obviously. They did a Batman Black Panther thing recently.
Oh, okay.
Like partly because the movie's coming out.
Yeah.
Spoilers, Black Panther 1, makes sense. But I saw a lot of people like, okay, I thought, this is kind of a weird matchup. Then I saw a lot of people here know more about Marvel Comics. Like, no, this makes sense. Black Panther is pretty much a richer Batman.
Right. Yeah. And I had heard, like, I knew very little about this movie going into it, but I had heard people say that, that it was like that a lot of his stuff is just like technology that he's built because he has a lot of money. But I honestly didn't know there was also going to be such a, like, you know, he drinks the thing and gets these powers or whatever. I didn't know that was even an element of this, honestly.
Yeah. Also, it's one of those things, it probably is something in the comics, at least in one of the iterations about it.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
I wonder how much of, like, Wakanda's culture and everything from the comics or stuff they just made for the movie.
Yeah.
Either way it worked. But.
I really don't know with Black Panther. I don't really have a touchdown for that.
I might have, like, made it clear in the story when he first... Oh, wait, we're getting into spoiler territory.
Yeah, I guess let's not get into just generally, Jeff. I guess let's wrap up the spoiler-free section. I mean, like, where is this movie set for you?
Pretty happy with the Marvel thing. I just had a thought, Darby. I'm gonna say
go for it.
I know we're kind of coming funny if we did this, but do you think you're saying earlier we want to get Will involved? Do you want to do our rankings maybe for Avengers?
I'd be definitely down to do that. I don't know if we can make that a separate video or something. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, just like, we can put that as its own thing.
Yeah. Just for a little fun little thing.
I would do that.
And to give us, incentive to watch the ones we missed so far.
Yeah, I think me and Jeff, the only ones I've missed is Ant-Man and Ragnarok.
And Ragnarok and Doctor Strange for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure Will's seen them all.
Yeah. I think, I mean, like, again, I love this movie so much. I think it has, I guess, before we get into the spoiler parts, there are obviously problems with this movie. I think
like with any superhero movie,
with any movie in general, especially these superhero movies, this movie is like, as you would expect, very, very heavily CGI. I mean, they have this whole mythical city and all these like crazy powers and stuff,
and just Black Panther in general.
Yeah, his suit and everything he does in general. There was going to be a lot of CGI, and with such a heavy CGI movie comes, like, obviously there were times where it did not look the best.
Yeah.
But it was also accompanied by many times where it was, like, breathtaking looking at some of the, like, scenery and everything. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's kind of, I think, give and take there.
Yeah.
And some of the writing had its normal Marvel cheesiness, and some of the jokes fell flat, and some of, you know, on and on. You could copy and paste this for, like, every Marvel movie. But I feel like it bothered me a lot less in this movie just because of how much fun I was having with everything else. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I
feel like just partly because I watch more of these cheesy superhero things in general. That stuff doesn't bother me as much as you and Alex.
Right.
I mean, which is fair, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I found myself like I feel I don't think I'm a hypocrite for it because I think this movie did so many other things right or whatever. Like, every movie has these problems, but like when you're able to, you know, when I'm still having a good experience despite them, mm-hmm. versus like The Last Jedi, where it had a lot of the same problems and I'm not having a good time because it's just like everything else around it is not on par.
So officially Black Panther better than Last Jedi?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is not even a question for me. Yeah. So go see Black Panther. Me and Jeff both.
Especially considering the Infinity War trailers. It might be good to see this movie.
I think Black Panther's going to have a
prominent role.
Pretty big part in it. And
I'm okay with that.
Probably in Marvel movies in general going forward, they're going to be like, hey, I think this Black Panther thing worked out.
Yeah. So we're getting a sequel, right?
Yeah, dude, yeah.
Yeah, no. They probably already have a plan. They announced like 6 Marvel release dates last week.
I just want more time in Wakanda. Like, that area was just so cool. Like, I want more stories in there.
Spoiler time, Darby.
All right.
It's warning.
Spoilers. Make sure you have seen the movie.
Hello, whatever.
Yeah. Jeff, where do you want to begin? I don't even know.
I guess we can just do our normal thing. Go down it and see where the discussion goes from there.
You have the plot in front of you. I do not. But.
Yeah, or like you said earlier, we had that whole little mythos thing in the beginning, that exposition stuff. Like you said, I like that because, like, okay, setting up all Wakanda, so at least that way they didn't have to do the whole thing of them trying to insert it into the regular dialogue. Yeah,
I felt like it was. I have to imagine that was probably some. I feel like that might have been a decision they made later on after trying to put that stuff in and just realizing we should just get this out of the way. You know, at first I thought it was weird when the movie started and it was like immediately exposition. It was like this giant exposition dump because usually that stuff is kind of annoying to me. But I felt like once we got into the movie, I was happy I had that, and I was happy.
Question. Okay, and let me know if you remember, like, it clarifies this, but it was obviously a father telling a son this. Mm-hmm. Was it, let's see, T'Chaka telling the
T'Challa?
T'Challa, or is it Killmonger's dad telling Killmonger?
I don't know. I would have to look back.
I don't know if it was thing, but the way it sounded, I can maybe see it being Killmonger's dad telling him. Okay. Because later in the movie, Killmonger went at the end talking to T'Challa, saying like his dad told him all about it, and he's like, thought it was like a fairy tale or something. And the way they said it sounded more like that. Yeah. I'm gonna go with that because I like that better.
I think that thematically probably wraps up more.
And the way he was telling it, it would make less sense for T'Challa to be hearing this because he lives in it.
He lives this, like it wouldn't be as much of a like bedtime story for him, basically.
Probably for a lot of people it's obvious, but I feel like that's it.
Yeah, I guess
especially since we immediatly went
you weren't thinking about that early in the film.
Especially since we went to Killmonger's dad's place like right after
immediately.
That.
Right. Yeah. I think so.
Cool.
I think that's right. I don't know. Moving forward.
I guess as we mentioned it, going to in Jobu, to Killmonger's dad's, place for that whole thing.
Yeah. I obviously I didn't really know much about Killmonger, so like obviously I didn't realize who exactly this was and everything until later. But I thought that was an interesting way to start it because you just don't know who these characters are exactly, and it kind of like I mean, there was lots of like, there was lots of like things in this movie and reveals that I felt like were paced really well, where it's like they put the pieces and then put the pieces that clarify, and they did that like, it was a very typical thing, but it worked really well for what they're doing with that. And I forgot what I was going to say.
I don't know where to go. I don't know.
I completely lost my train of thought.
Let's see.
Anyway, that happens, and you don't. Do you see that? You don't see that he kills him there.
No,
you just see that
you don't. So when
you just learned that he was like had the guy spying on him, and he didn't realize it.
Since we haven't really tried to think about it and check up on stuff, since it's like immediately after we saw it, we don't have our normal thing of checking, double checking on things to make sure. But I can't, when we were talking in the car with our friends on the way back, I was saying like, I kind of figured like Killmonger was T'Challa's cousin pretty early on.
Yeah, I got it decently early.
Yeah, especially but I figured it might be a thing. Okay, he's gonna plan to maybe break his dad out or something potentially. If that, I don't know if that completely made sense. Like that crossed my mind, but I know that completely made sense because we didn't hear about his.
You're like, where is this dad?
Yeah, it's never really mentioned other than the flashback, of course.
Yeah, I probably should have assumed these, but just in general, I mean, we can kind of jump around a lot, but like while we're here, whatever. I thought that was such a cool origin story for Killmonger. Mm-hmm. The fact that. And the reveal that, when they did this reveal later on, and obviously Black Panther looks at his father as this kind of like, he looks at his father the way that we all look at a lot of our fathers is like they can't do anything wrong. They're this, like figure that we look up to, and then to learn that he did something very wrong, very wrong.
Killed his brother and left his nephew just behind without family.
And just for keeping Wakanda a secret or whatever, and that's not all just good. Like he's grown up on this ideal that that's what you were supposed to do, but then you learn that doesn't always, that's not always the right thing to do. And again, just like kind of like with Vulture and Homecoming, I thought this was like an awesome setup for a villain where Marvel usually is not this good.
No,
at
like
setting up villains.
We mentioned it like at the end of the movie. Again, we haven't seen Ragnarok, but I think maybe we can potentially put to rest that whole Marvel having bad villain thing, because assuming Ragnarok's good, at least in I think both of our opinions, they've had potentially Ragnarok's good like 4 in a row, starting with Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah. They've been on a roll with that. Like, so I think they're on a very good track record.
Yeah. And considering Avengers villain is Thanos, if they fail with that, they just messed up this whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. It's what we've been building to this whole time. If they don't have something good with that.
It's kind of honestly, depending if it's like really bad, it's like, what was all this for them?
Yeah. I mean, and I could see Thanos being kind of a one-track thing, but, I guess we'll see.
We will see. Yeah. Next year.
But going into Wakanda and like seeing this, I honestly like to show you how much I didn't know about Black Panther. I didn't know that this was like a Themyscira type thing, where you go like it's this hidden city or whatever.
So you telling me Black Panther copied Wonder Woman?
Yes.
Okay. Marvel copying DC again.
Don't know what to tell you. Did you know that? Because I didn't even know that was a thing. Okay, I'm clueless when it comes to Black Panther, which was a cool way to go into this movie. Yeah. Honestly, I'm glad that like when they went through that force field and I saw the city, I was legitimately like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised you did not at least know that part.
I mean, like it makes sense now. Like when they kept saying like third world country and it's not all those or whatever. And it's like, I guess that does make sense that there's going to be this big thing.
Oh, wait, I'm going to say something. You at least saw it because we got that thing at the end of. I mean, I know it's been a while, but Civil War.
Yeah, I forgot a lot of Civil War. But
I think it was like the post credits stinger or whatever.
Yeah.
Like Cap.
America
wakes up and then he sees
Yeah. I guess I just didn't realize exactly how it was hidden from
everyone.
But anyway. But it was that city's beautiful, and I just love
that's where the CGI budget went.
Yeah, that's where all that went.
Because if you don't make that city look good, then
the movie falls apart because that's so much of the movie. And I love the like intersection of this high tech stuff everywhere, and then the like African like traditional like garbs and rituals and everything. It's such a just cool contrast.
Oh yeah, like we were getting to before. It's like, oh wait, maybe we're getting this point. There was a whole ceremony thing with him becoming king and the whole duel thing and him drinking the thing to lose the Black Panther powers.
That's a very like old tribal thing mixed with everything else.
To me, a little like, oh wait, he's doing this so he loses the power. Yeah, it makes it a fair fight.
The power stripped away from you and everything.
Yeah. Which
can we talk about like the way that fight was shot? Both fights, like that and then the Killmonger, I loved those.
Just so raw.
Oh yeah, because they do a lot of like low angles in the water, and like there's water splashing on the camera, splashing everywhere. They fall in there, like, and you're seeing like looking up at the one that just knocked them down. It was just a very like close up, visceral like camera work for those.
I was gonna say this real quick. The more I feel like this can be a movie, the more we talk about it, the more I think about it later. This will go on my Marvel ranking.
I like right now. It has to be proven to go down for me right now because it's pretty high.
Yeah,
and I mean, because it was just a lot of it was just like the cinematography for those things. I mean, that could have just been a fight.
Yeah,
and especially, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that was like a smaller fight. I mean, obviously, the Killmonger one was a lot bigger one, but that first one, it was just kind of like,
we know how that's going to go. Though you can argue, how the Killmonger one's going to go. It's like,
he's not going to win twice. And then, like, that's not going to make sense.
Yeah.
But the way that was shot, and, like, to introduce Black Panther, and it's like, I felt like it was like adrenaline was rushing during that first fight, and I was like, and this was a nothing fight against some no-name guy. I was like, oh, this movie's gonna be good. It's like, when it's that early, it's like this is almost just like the practice fight. I was like, whoo, I'm excited. I guess moving on, he becomes king.
He does become king. Everyone knew that was happening.
Everyone knew he was going to become king.
He was technically king in Civil War, at least in name.
Yeah, basically. We didn't know that he was going to have to fight for it.
Oh, yeah. Although something else. It might be a time skip, but as far as we know, and correct me if there was something I missed, it was only like a week after Civil War.
Was it? Oh.
I might have heard wrong, but in the very beginning, when they were... like when T'Challa was watching the TV in the ship, it said something like a week ago or something at the UN. I might have heard wrong, but I think it said that, and I don't think anywhere from then on we got like a time skip.
But I don't remember. I don't remember any time skip. But it seems like everything was pretty like
Yeah, which would be kind of different considering normally these Marvel movies are like connected like real time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't really know.
Which I guess this is easier to do because, and something I kind of like, this story is pretty contained.
Yeah, because it doesn't involve other, like, you could believe this happening really in any span of time you want to, and it really wouldn't matter for the rest of it.
It just kind of and the way things work, you can kind of believe, this is way before the events of Infinity War because nothing that really happens here necessarily affects there than him becoming king and learning some stuff.
That was probably intentional in some way so they can do whatever they want.
Oh wait, well, I guess one thing, but him at the end saying, "Hey, we're gonna show everyone Wakandian technology."
Yeah,
I guess that's the only thing that influenced the rest of the world. But
Infinity War, if there's like Wakandan technology all over the place, then it'll be like, okay, this has been going on for a while.
No, I was gonna say that actually might be a good thing. It's like, okay, they had time to spread it around. And
Yeah.
And other Marvel movies? Well, I guess Spider-Man. I'm trying to think other ones wouldn't really we wouldn't really see that because we got space and like Guardians and Thor. But I guess we would have seen. I don't know. We'll see how they do it.
We'll see.
I'm probably overthinking it.
Probably. I mean, it's
one of the things I think about.
No, I mean, like there's a gigantic timeline at this point. So many moving parts.
Easy thing for me to Google later.
Yeah. We'll this will all be answered soon enough in April too. We'll see that.
So many movies
coming up. But I thought, I mean, I guess moving forward, like he's king, and he has they introduced the Australian dude, whatever.
Ulysses Claw.
What'd you think about him in general?
I liked him okay.
Yeah, I thought he was supposed to be annoying.
I think he's a good, like, quote unquote mid boss.
Yes.
If he was the main villain, unless they showed something like,
it would have been.
But him leading up to the Killmonger reveal, I think he served that purpose.
And I feel like there could have been a version of this movie where he was the main villain, and it would be a much worse movie. I feel like there's been villains like him that are the only ones or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think he served as, like, he's kind of this crazy renegade dude, you know, who's just insane. He's just crazy and annoying, and he's intentionally annoying. But I had no clue that he was going to be killed off that early.
Yeah.
Whenever, especially when Killmonger, like, had him there, whenever he was pointing the gun, I expected, I was like, okay, well, he's just going to make him come with him or something. He's going to be a part of it.
I did not, at that point, I knew he was going to kill him, because then why would Killmonger just shoot his girlfriend? If he was just going to let him live.
That is true. I guess I didn't think about that hard, but I just, like, assumed it was like this guy was in all the trailers and everything else so much. I just assumed he was going to be a part of the whole time, and I was kind of I was like, I didn't want to deal with him for a whole movie. So when he shot, I was like, holy crap, okay. And that just established Killmonger so much more.
Just to clarify, you didn't really see trailers for this, right?
I saw, like, the one trailer.
Okay. And you don't really remember much?
No.
Good, because they had Killmonger in the Black Panther suit in the trailer.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I probably could have expected that to be coming, but yeah, I mean, they probably should.
I mean, since you didn't really know much about Killmonger in general.
I didn't. But I knew that. I just figured that I figured the Australian dude would die eventually. I just thought that he was going to be hanging around at the end of the movie. But that was just a way where it was like, oh no, you thought this Australian dude was the back. No, it's Killmonger. No. It's like Killmonger just completely establishes himself.
Another Human Torch redeemed.
Yep.
In the real Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Slowly just put them all in there.
Yep.
But anyway.
Well, I guess we can talk about go back to the casino scene and kind of talk about.
Okay, yeah. This was, again, I talked about how this movie was 007. Yeah. That was like peak 007, where I was like, holy crap, this is like a heist movie almost, or it's like, we have to be sly, we have to like spy on people. It became a spy movie. I was like, this movie is so many different things that I love just like shoved into one in this like goofy hodgepodge, and I love it.
Yeah, and then what's the general's name?
I don't know anyone's name.
Yeah.
But she was a great character.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And I love I loved her relationship with him, and I loved the, like, kind of political drama of, like, she's loyal to the throne, but she also was loyal to this family. And
it's like
the pull between it, which was...
By the end, she picked the family.
Yes, yeah.
Well, and kind of the kingdom.
And that was where, like, this is also, like, I would say it was, like, 007... Star Wars, Marvel, and it's also like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
When it comes to like thrones and political intrigue and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go back to the scene real quick. I like the car chase scene. Like, just with the sister doing the thing with the remote control thing. Mm-hmm. Like, that's cool technology was used again later. That's just useful in general. They do some interesting stuff with that.
Yeah, it was a lot of like setting up them doing it later.
Yeah. And
everything. What did you think about the sister character? Because I know we were talking about Alex, and I didn't really care for her too much. I actually enjoyed her a lot. Like, I thought that it was just like they knew what her character was, and like I liked her relationship with him. It was just this like cool brother and sister relationship, and she was just charming to me. And again, I like 007 movies, and she was like the gadget person. Like I love 007 having like Q, like giving all these stuff.
The way they taught is like, okay, she's young. How much did she actually invent? How much did she change this culture?
I mean, exactly. She is a prodigy, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, the good thing T'Challa was born first. Mm. So she's not bothering with the whole politics. No, so she can do her thing.
She can just go invent things because apparently she's a child genius.
Yeah. Just cool. I just want to say real quick that made me thinking. I like how badass they made like every woman. Character in.
Oh yeah they're all like, I mean, again, like kind of borrowing from Wonder Woman. There like lots of like Amazon influences, I feel like, with especially the general and all of her women. And it was another just example of just like badass choreography with these
and this is something like I mean, movies have been better with this in general. It's just nice to see, like, you didn't really have those damsels in distress. Like, every woman in this could take care of themselves.
Oh, yeah, and did.
Yeah.
And even, like, in that beginning scene or whatever, like, whenever he, like, goes down there and, like, you think he's saving her or whatever, and she's like, you messed up my mission.
But I'm about to become king. Let's come watch.
It was like, I love that kind of bait and switch. It seems like, I have to go. He's saving her. He's saving her. It was really like, hey, can you come, like, what? Come to my birthday party. Yeah. Basically, it was, it was not what it seemed like, which I liked. I thought that was a good introduction to them. All those characters. I love all the side characters in this, and I just didn't expect that to be a thing.
I feel like when at the end of the day, when we talk about Marvel movies in general and like general rankings, what we'll put Black Panther above is how strong the side characters are, how strong the villain is, and how strong the setting in the world is, like compared to other ones.
I feel like these side characters are some of the strongest in Marvel movies.
I mean, that's what I mean. They're just like
this and Spider-Man. I feel like both had very good side characters.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when you compare it to other Marvel movies, the side characters, the villain, and just the setting with Wakanda and everything probably will rank like close to the top.
I think so.
And,
yeah. I definitely think so.
Mm-hmm.
It was. Yeah, I mean, like, there even the, whatever, I guess he was a different type of general, the one that sided with Killmonger.
Yeah, the woman general's lover, husband, whatever.
Yeah, I thought, like, it was believable for him to, he wants these things, he wants them to, like, Wakanda to go help other people and, like, branch out of their little bubble, and Killmonger was just, like, the only way he sees that.
Yeah, and wants a king to get something done, and he even told Kala that even before Killmonger came here and everything, and Killmonger brought Claw, the person, like, the guy wanted to kill more than anything.
Yeah, and that he was, like, mad that T'Challa couldn't do it, and then, like, oh, this guy did it,
And he's like, oh, and he's actually talking, like, the things I want.
Yeah.
So that is believable for what we know that character.
Mm-hmm. And that easily could have been not believable, I feel like. But, like, that, and the fact that it was, like, it was just such a close-knit family, basically, there that was being torn apart was very interesting, like, on top of everything else. And, yeah. So, where are we now? I'm trying to remember. I guess we're basically now like Killmonger comes. Killmonger comes and brings Claw. The Killmonger fight was amazing, and just Killmonger in general. His actor, like him coming in there, is like, no, I want.
Yeah, Michael Jordan's great.
Oh yeah, like him. I want the throne. And he's like, I want this or whatever.
It's one of those cases where I'm sad he was killed off.
Because he was such a cool villain. I mean, like, on top of like his motivations making sense, and he actually has like. You have sympathy for him. And
and I think that's the thing that also set him apart is like his motivations, like, this is believable.
It
like,
is. Yeah.
It's one of those things like, can we call him completely a villain in a way?
Not completely, like, he's just
in the general sense.
He just went too far, basically. Yeah. Like, I mean, he's definitely, he was doing bad things, but like the core, what he wanted was something actually good. And one thing that I was saying when we like left the theater, one thing that I absolutely love about this is if you look at what happened in the story from a broad spectrum, Killmonger made change happen. Like the Wakanda would have probably stayed in their little bubble, which obviously we see by what they did to Killmonger is not the right thing to do all the time. And because Killmonger did all of this, he kind of made T'Challa see that this needs to happen.
Yeah. I have a good way to like show like how good of, I guess, antagonist, I'll put it this way, Killmonger is. It's obviously not every good antagonist this way. If the movie was flipped and was from Killmonger's perspective, he'd be the hero.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You could definitely spin this in a way to be like, oh, they just left this guy abandoned and he's coming back to get his birthright, And
this is the people that's keeping stuff that could save people from them.
Absolutely.
And kind of letting people die. So, I think that's typically a sign of a very good villain.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like I'm going to be making lots of like comparisons between the two, but it was the same thing. Like, you could tell Homecoming in a way where Vulture is somewhat, it's his story. Yeah. It's the same way with Killmonger. And but also just his backstory and everything was great, but also just from a pure just like watching the movie perspective, he was just cool. He like his choreography was awesome, and the like scars on him. just the way he looked and the way he carried himself, just was a very intimidating man.
Now, here's a question that I don't know is completely answered. I guess the scars on him that represents every kill he has. Is that a Wakandan thing? Would they say that? Because I think I saw in like other.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, like Claw did say like you can scar yourself all you want or whatever. They're still not going to accept you. So I mean, that could mean that was a Wakandan thing. Yeah. Because I mean, at least it's in their aesthetic. At least I don't know. The kills necessarily mean that, but yeah.
And you see Killmonger embracing that is a thing. Like if that was a Wakandan thing,
would be cool. That Killmonger fight. Awesome. Again, it was like the other like challenge fight, but even better. And obviously, Killmonger tosses him off the cliff. New king.
Yep.
And very good acting from the family being terrified and like running away. Yep. It was like it really almost felt like a medieval like overthrowing. And it's like, oh, this family needs to fear for their life.
Yeah, and also I think it kind of fits that Killmonger didn't exact like in his character we know of him. Wasn't like find them, kill him, whatever.
Right.
Because he wasn't like them. That kind of fits with him.
He didn't Game of Thrones. You're on. He's just like, let's go kill them.
Kill them all.
Spoilers, I guess. I'm sorry.
No one will remember the name. No, there's too many characters.
They won't. They'll know who I'm talking about. Then he goes through. I thought it was a pretty kind of like cool and touching scene with Killmonger and his father. This is another thing. This is the antagonist that literally just threw the protagonist off of a cliff. And then we have a touching scene with him and his father. Yeah. It's like, because this is not just black and white. This is very, like, there's lots of, nuance to this.
Yeah. I wonder if, because reading exactly something to say this, they burned all those flowers with the crystal things they gave them Paris. I wonder if they'll be able to get those back.
Yeah, I wonder if that means that, like, this is it. Like, you
can call us the last Black Panther.
Yeah, it might mean. That might be that. Like, I'm not really sure. Or they could just be like, we have a whole, like, forest of these things, right?
Well, yeah, there'll probably be something, I'll be like, whatever.
Sure.
This is a small thing.
Sure. I mean, that was a very cool scene, though, of him saying that, no, you burned them all, and just the fire, like, rising up.
I mean, like...
and it makes sense from his perspective, where he's just like, all these people hate me and don't want me to be king, and...
I just liked T'Challa's love interest. I hated that. I can't remember anything. Yeah, it took something. I can honestly, like... I could buy that someone there took another one as well to keep if they wanted to do, plant them later.
Yeah.
I could buy that. Easily.
Yeah, they could absolutely bring that back up. I mean, I feel like the MCU has done cheaper stuff than that. So.
Yeah. Speaking of cheap things, I guess the cheapest thing I see in this movie is the whole thing of T'Challa falling out that waterfall and surviving.
Yeah.
That's the most movie thing out of the whole thing.
He gets like brought out by like some fishers or whatever. Yeah, that's a movie thing.
And putting in snow to live. To survive. Take him out of the snow, he'll die.
That was probably the cheapest thing. Yeah. But it's one of those things. It's like, you're gonna do it. And I mean, like, but I do think that one of the coolest parts in the movie was that section of time where he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Where it was just Killmonger taking control, and it focused on the family members and everything. And that's another area where you realize how strong these side characters are, because he was out of the movie for what felt like a decent amount of time there, and they had to... they all believed he was dead. It wasn't like, oh, we need to go find him. It was like, well, we have to figure out what we're doing because he's gone. Yeah. And I thought that was a very interesting dynamic and an interesting part there when you saw his mom and like the grief and everything. I thought that was really cool. And I was and again, that was just like to be able to take the Black Panther out of the movie for that long and it still keep my interest.
Yeah.
These characters are very strong.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Good.
So I guess they go out to... So this was... The people that they go out to who did find Black Panther... So these are just some, like, kind of, like, side tribe that's just been,
they mention it in the...
Exiled from everyone
they
else.
mention it in the beginning, like, they're talking about the tribe, and they were like, one of them, for whatever reason, was sent up to the mountain or whatever. Like, they disagreed, so they sent us to the mountain. Okay. That's that tribe.
Yeah. I mean, I got that they were, like, kind of, like, pushed aside from everyone else. I just didn't catch why.
And the chief was even like, you're the first king to come here in hundreds of years.
Yeah, just jeez.
Yeah, and by the looks of it, I saw the chief guy, in the end, when he was walking to the throne, he was like, okay, cool, he'll probably be back and be, like, actually involved. So I like that guy's character.
Yeah, he did deliver one of the lines that fell flat for me. Like, the vegetarian thing I didn't really laugh at, and he had something else that, like, he had like two different lines where I was just like, all right, Marvel. Because we talked about
comic books.
We talked about it in the car, where I feel like every Marvel movie and every Star Wars movie at this point has like the one or two like one-liners that just completely fall flat for me, and it's kind of getting old. But, oh well, it's like a collective, like, 30 seconds of every movie that I have to deal with, so,
a couple one-liners that fall flat. Yeah. It definitely change anything.
It is what it is. I wish that they weren't so jarring. I just feel like it's always, like, the scene's going, and then it's just, like, boom, gut punch of what's supposed to be comedy, and it very rarely really is to me. But it is what it is.
Depending on the movie, of course. If it's more than others.
But they resurrect him or whatever. Cool. I mean, like, that whole tribe was a little, like, not explained a whole lot, and it was kind of, like, that was also a little cheap, where it was like, oh, there happens to be these other people. I mean, like, I get they explained it and everything. It was just we didn't go very deep into them, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal.
Only do so much in a movie.
They do so much. So he's alive.
Yes.
He comes back, and this is basically...
He has his superpowers again.
We basically go into the final, like, fight, right?
He goes there. Yeah, T'Challa goes there. He destroys his ship.
Killmonger's about to send all the weapons out.
He comes out, and T'Challa's like, "Yo, our duel's technically not done by law." And Killmonger's like, "Nah, screw that." And a lot of the people are like, "Yeah, screw that."
And everyone, and then other people
Civil
are like,
"No."
War. And then
Black Panther Civil War.
Black Panther Civil War. That's what I thought too. I do think this is probably where the CGI showed its ugly side the most, in my opinion. Yeah. Just because anytime you have such a CGI battle taking place in a wide open lit field, it's like all the problems are just like highlighted because you can see everything so well. And I feel like, especially when the rhinos came out and they were like knocking people, like when people were flying across the map, I'm like, it is kind of like some... it definitely at times did not look great. But at other times it looked cool. It was kind of hit or miss there.
Yeah, a couple times during the Black Panther and Black Panther fight. Definitely tell, yep, this is CGI.
Yep. And like, I think, like Alex said, there was definitely a reason why it's like, let's continue this fight down in this dark railway where we don't have to actually like make the backgrounds.
Yep.
So
make it easier. Let's show their faces.
Yes. Yeah. But it was cool though. Yeah. Like, even though like some of the stuff didn't look that great, the concept of everything that was going on, like the civil war between the people and like, family members or people that like love each other, like being on opposite sides and almost killing each other. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And everyone's costume design is amazing in this movie. Everyone just looks really cool. So battle ensues. Not too much to say there unless you have something.
No, not really.
Thing gets knocked down. Obviously, the train thing. I like that they like kind of tie back in, like she was saying before. Like, we made these things to like weaken the power of the vibranium or whatever it was. I think that's the name of it. And so, obviously, it weakens their suits. So I was like, that was a cool tying that back in.
Trying to think. Oh yeah, real quick. Okay. Before T'Challa knocked Killmonger down the hole, do you think Killmonger was about to kill the sister?
I thought there was a chance.
I think that's good that we were like both kind of thinking,
worried about that.
That could actually happen.
Because I was like, this movie was surprisingly like violent. I mean, like there was a lot of death in this movie, and there were some times where I was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's still, like, kids watching this. I mean, like, obviously more adults watching almost anything at this point, but it's still kind of a kid's movie.
Yeah.
So, like, there was at times where I was like, oh, that is a bullet wound. That is...
I mean, we had someone's neck get slashed. I mean, there's no blood, but it happened.
Yeah, there was like they definitely. I mean, obviously, it wasn't like completely like gore all over the place, and not as much gore as would be there for people getting their necks slashed open. But it didn't hold back that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like probably if you like paused it and you were like, Darby, is he really going to kill her? If I had time to think about it, I'd probably be like, no, probably not. That wouldn't exactly fit in the tone of this movie. But in the moment, it was like, this could happen. Yeah. So he gets knocked down. Obviously, Black Panther wins.
Yep, of course. Takes him out to see the sunset that his dad always talked to him about.
Yeah, and it's one of those. It was again. It just speaks on how good Killmonger is. That like I feel like there's so many other Marvel movies. Just the good guy kills the bad guy and it's over, and you don't really think much about it. But this one, like, I didn't want. You wanted Killmonger to have some redemption or some sort of like conversation with Black Panther or whatever before you die. You didn't want that to be a harsh end to the relationship because Killmonger at its core, I don't think is a bad person. So I thought that it was a little cheesy, obviously, like the sunset in the background, whatever. I thought it worked. Yeah, it worked well, and I thought what he said, I think that was a very going to the cultural side of Black Panther, the bury me in the ocean where my ancestors jumped off the boat because they knew that was better than bondage. I'm like, damn. Yeah. That's a strong line. That's a really strong line. And it kind of leads to, what T'Challa ends up doing and trying to help other people and everything like that. Yeah.
He had
branching out. Yeah.
Yeah. He had his Iron Man moment. Pretty much.
Basically. He basically did.
He's like,
hello, world.
Hello, world. We're going to share our knowledge with the world. And then one guy's like, what can Wakanda do? T'Challa's like, let me show you.
Yeah, because there was so many different elements of the there was Killmonger talking about kind of being black in America and the struggles of that, and then there was also a lot of that's a third world country that's so poor, there was so much of this in a lot of ways this movie was Americans can be very shitty sometimes, but it was done in a very cool way. So and Wakanda is branching out. They have the thing. He's like, I bought this one. I bought this building and that building and that building. This is going to be the first, whatever embassy or whatever the heck he called it for Wakanda.
He's like, yo, ship, come down.
It's also, those kids did not.
They're very trusting.
They're very trusting of this giant alien spaceship that just came down on their basketball court. I really feel like real kids would have been running for their freaking lives, but instead they're like, "Oh, look, this is really cool.
Okay,
let's go touch it."
But we got to think. Oh wait, actually, this gives more credence to the running away thing. This is a world where they know aliens exist.
But aliens came out of a wormhole and tried to kill people. If I see any sort of alien thing, I am running. Yeah. But I guess they could have been like, "Oh, it's Tony Stark. It's a Stark ship or something."
It's not shooting lasers at us.
I mean, the idea of a weird spaceship is not foreign to these people in this world, so I guess that makes sense.
You can make an argument for that, making them want to array more or go close to it.
You can make it either way.
Those characters are like, cool.
Let's go up.
And then we had the other post-credits scene where
Bucky, I was trying to remember if there's any other. But
I thought it was going to be Captain America.
Yeah, I thought for sure it was going to be Captain America. But
so that leaves the question, and I'm okay with him not being in this movie. I feel like that probably would have taken away.
It was probably we couldn't get Chris Evans to come and shoot this because he's a busy dude.
It's like he only has so many movies on his contract. Let's don't.
And Bucky probably has considerably less scenes in Infinity War.
Here's the thing: I thought Bucky was frozen or something.
I don't remember where it ended.
I thought they froze him or something because he was crazy or something.
Was he in the prison when Cap broke him? Where did Bucky end up? Okay, I mean,
no, he was in Wakanda.
He ended up.
I think they kind of froze him or something to have the same effect or whatever until they could figure out what kind of quote unquote fix him, and then that's.
And I guess this maybe is just them showing that
he's better and
they're
he's fine and he's learning stuff.
That's that's probably why they did him for this also, so they don't have to explain that, I guess, in Infinity War too much, or they can be like...
Yeah, they can explain what Cap's been doing at the beginning of Infinity War.
Yeah, and this kind of shows, like, okay, Bucky's here again. And he's cool, but...
Yep.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. So, Jeff, this is a really, really, really good movie. I liked it a lot. It's one of those, I can definitely understand if people don't like it as much as others. You know, like, I definitely think it has problems. And if you weren't into it, like, I think it just hit me in the right mood. And I was on for the ride with all these characters. So I was able to look past some of these other things. Kind of the same thing with Wonder Woman. I mean, there's lots of parallels between this Wonder Woman and Spider-Man for me, where it's just like, yes, there are some like problems, but God, it's just like the movie knows how to be fun, and like it's paced. Characters, you can't not love the characters. Yeah, and I'm just on for the ride the whole time in all three of those movies.
So, Dari, when are superhero movies gonna die?
Wait, what?
People want to talk about, it's going to happen.
I thought it would have happened by now. Like if you asked me like 5 years ago, I would have thought that we were getting close.
Reviewing great,
reviewing great, and like smashing
records. We saw like right before it was at 930 million. So
freaking.
So it's going to break $1 billion soon.
Yeah, unbelievable. I just never would have expected. I mean, just because like no one even had a slightest clue who Black Panther was, like even a year.
No, the surprising thing is, I can't remember. I know I mentioned this before to you, but I can't remember if I did it when we were recording this. Like, I felt like the excitement for Black Panther just suddenly happened. Like, I suddenly saw like the advance tickets are record highs and stuff.
It was a lot of like, oh yeah, I guess Black Panther's coming up. I guess it's coming up, and then like when we got close to it, it just shot up.
Yeah, and then obviously reviews came out and they were fantastic, and people saw it, and then of course word of mouth.
Yeah, but even with the advance tickets, it ended up being like even bigger than I thought it would. I mean, like The Last Jedi, I didn't think there was a chance in hell that it would be that high as far as these things. So.
And it's just something this movie will just be important for. It's like shows like we can have a predominantly black cast and have a great selling movie.
That BS is gone. that BS.
Also,
is like
we can throw in a predominantly woman cast, not even just counting Wonder Woman, because most of the main characters were women in this.
Yeah, like the majority of the characters.
Yeah, so I'm glad that stuff's gone. Like it should be gone
because it was BS to begin with. It was complete another BS.
Just
but now
make a good movie and people will come.
There's no leg to stand on. I mean, like, yeah, it was. I mean, I loved it. Like this, even if this movie was just kind of, standard fare or whatever, like not that special Marvel movie. The fact that it had a black protagonist and a black cast would have been something special, just in the fact that we don't get that. There's not enough of that to begin with.
And obviously it doesn't mean as much to us, but you read all these people, black people. Like,
I mean, that's what, even if I hated this movie, I'd be like, I'm glad it's happening for these people, whatever. But the fact that on top of it being important like that, it's also, I think, like probably one of the best Marvel movies out there. It's just the 1-2 punch.
I'm so happy. And again, I'm happy. The parallels to Wonder Woman, like that's succeeded as well. So we don't have to hear as much of the whole women can't be the leads in action movie type things, blockbusters. That we just
it's out there. I honestly expected to be a little let down with this movie, just because of like it's been so much hype. Like I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. So I went into this expecting to be let down, and I was not. And I am very happy. I guess last question: do you think this is top what for you Marvel movies, just on a random guess? We'll do like an actual ranking. I think it's easily top 5 for me. Maybe top 3.
I feel like when we do rankings, I feel like people, like if they saw my list, might be like upset how low the original Iron Man might be. I feel I get like, I know what it started.
I'll always love that movie from a nostalgia.
But if you look at like how much I might like the movies in general, it may not be as high as most people would put it. And arguably same with the Avengers.
Yeah, I mean when you look at an actual just like movie standpoint, Homecoming is a better movie than Iron Man. I think Black Panther is probably a better movie than Iron Man. It was
from a movie standpoint. I think we can easily argue, and especially the way we've been talking, that's because Marvel's getting better.
I think so too. Yeah, I mean, there's even arguments for like Captain America: Civil War might be better than Iron Man. I mean, it sucks. I mean, and Iron Man is fantastic. It's just these are good movies.
Yeah,
there's kind of small differences, but like small gaps between some of these.
Yeah,
so. I don't know. I would love to do that ranking because like I'm a little like I don't know because like Homecoming is my number one. It's always been my number one. I don't know where like I'll have to see. It'd be difficult.
We need to figure it out. We need to talk to Will and figure out how we're going to structure that.
Yeah, I think
that'd be fun.
That would be very fun to do.
Yeah. And we just need to watch the ones we missed. I'm trying to think. Unfortunately, Ragnarok's one of the ones we missed. We just may need to rent it and watch it together.
Yeah, we should just watch it. I mean, like it's probably if it's not already like on renting stuff, it'll be there soon.
Hopefully, Doctor Strange is still on Netflix.
Yeah, it was, but that was a while ago when I watched it. At this point,
it might be taken off. Yeah, but we'll figure that out.
We will figure that out. But thank you guys so much for listening to us ramble on about how much we love Black Panther. If you want to check out our other spoiler casts, we have them on YouTube or on Nerds at Large Spoilercast on podcast services. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, we'll try to get more of
busy because we got in May or starting in April, I guess. We got Avengers, we got Deadpool.
Solo.
So, I won't be in that one. But
me and Will can do Solo.
We got Incredible shortly after that. We got Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I like the trailer we saw today. I think that's the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
I always like when those kind of shrinking things, like when they use that to their advantage and do a bunch of silly stuff.
Yeah.
Like with the Pez or whatever.
The Hello Kitty thing.
I just love stupid stuff like that.
It's very great.
Ant-Man's things fit with that.
So we'll try to get as many of those as we can. Obviously, we're busy, and it's like I feel like the spoiler cast is the thing we neglect the most, just because it's hard to get to all these movies sometimes. So.
Yeah, but luckily it starts when we're getting done with school, but we'll be graduated then.
And life starts.
Yep.
But also check out Nerds at Large Gaming podcast every Monday. We talk about gaming stuff all the time, and we have Let's Plays, including super hot VR Let's Play that just went up. So
yes, indeed, it's very good. You did a good job, Darby.
Thank you. You enjoyed the 007 sequence?
I did. Yeah. Hopefully we'll do more VR Let's Plays.
Yeah, hopefully. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.